Oh, well, that is halfway through my run, about 6 kilometers, which is perfect because I wanted to take the chance to start to speak to people and you guys at home about my connection with these lovely people at Mind UK, and just to really hammer the brand home. I got the vest on below, it's quite sweaty, so I will save you that look, but it seems about right. Now obviously I'm raising money for Mind and I'm raising money for the MS Society. Now obviously we're going to get to my personal tie with the MS Society all in good time, and it's quite the story, so I'll come to that shortly. But beforehand I really wanted to speak to the lovely people at Mind. I think I have always been under the impression that, you know, mental health, especially when I was growing up, you know, that was only, say it like an old man, but 20 years ago, school days were very different back then. I feel like we grew up in probably an age where people would mock each other for feeling bad about things, or if somebody was upset, or you taunt people. I hold my hands up, I was probably a bit of a knob in school. I was probably a bit of an asshole to people. If you're watching, I'm really sorry. But you'd press buttons, you know, you get kicks out of that. So at school you kind of don't really fathom these kind of things. The current sort of figures, especially when it comes to Mind, they actually say that it's about 1 in 4 people that struggle with their mental health. I don't really believe in that personally. I actually think that, like, everybody struggles with mental health, whether you believe it or not. I think I've probably had times before I got MS where I look back now and think I probably was struggling with my mental health. That could be anything. Could be job related, could be money related, could be relationship related. I personally I have this kind of theory that life itself has like pillars. That's kind of what I work off. So if all your pillars are strong and good, you're the happiest you can be. And my pillars are money, finances, sadly, my relationship, my work life, my career, and my health. So I have 4 pillars, and usually if 2 of them are strong, you're good. 3 of them, great. 4, perfect. But if things take a bit of a hit, whether it's your relationship or your health, or that's when it all starts. That's when I consider my mental health at its worst. That's me in the present day. Now, I think I was first kind of really hit with the severity and impact of mental health as a thing when, awfully, sadly, when I was about 20 years old, I got a call while I was at work and I was doing a job on a market for one of my really, really good friends, telling me that one of our other good friends in a year above me at school had unfortunately taken his life. It was awful. I mean, I say that with sympathy. I'm not saying that my feelings to finding it awful outweighs anything to do with the closer friends or family, but I remember at the time being kind of, I don't know, speechless. I think speechless is definitely the term, because I'd literally never had that before in my life. I had experienced a very, very dear, and one of my best friends in the world passed away when I was young, but I was about 10. I can't comprehend these things, but to find something like that out, especially so shocking when you're, one minute I was working on a food market, vegetable market, trying to sell bits and bobs. The next thing you know, you get that call. And I think my first reaction to my friend Charles that called me and told me about this was like, fuck off. I almost took offence in being told that, as if it was a sick joke. Of course it wasn't. And I went home, and I remember speaking to one of my other good friends when I went home, and I was just like angry. I found myself really angry in it, because I go into this sort of mindset of like, there's people I would pick in the world to replace with him, which is an awful thing to say, because at that point you're trying to say like, I'd choose their life. That's a horrible thing to say, but that emotion and knowing what that feels like is such a difficult thing to kind of, you know, to kind of define, because you've never felt it before. So to feel that way, and then to find out that one of your good friends and somebody you care so dearly about has had to go through that and then decided to do that, that was huge. And I got to say, Lloyd, and I'm sure, I hope his family, and apologise for me sniffing. It's a cold day and I've just been running. Yeah, I apologise. It's, you know, it's got to be a sensitive subject, of course, and Lloyd was just the coolest guy at school. He was one of those guys in school, super upbeat, super positive, a lovely guy, really talented. Both of us had a bit of a penchant for drumming. He was way better than me, way better. He was way better at the ladies with me. He's just a cool guy, you know, one of those guys in school you look up to and think, oh, he's cool, he's just a popular guy. That was Lloyd. I have like some great memories of Lloyd, of being at Leeds Festival with him when we were like 15 years old, and you know, you don't really know what the world is then, you're just jumping around to like indie music or rock music or whatever Leeds had on its roster at the time. But it was a wicked day, wicked weekend in fact. And yeah, silly memories. And then also I definitely remember a time where Lloyd had gone to we'd been out in our local town in Lincoln, up in Lincolnshire, and I think he got to the end of the night and everyone was trying to get home, and I think he either decided he didn't want to get in a taxi or thought I'd give it a walk, and he walked, I want to say like 10 miles, 12 miles, middle of the night. Been on the old drinks all night. So yeah, he was a go-getter. He'd go and get things done, but yeah, sorely missed. So yeah, I think it was then when I found that out that I really sort of thought, geez, that is the impact of mental health. That's how bad it can get, and I never really realised that extremity. So, and you know, you kind of deal with these, you start to sort of process how you handle these things, and then moving forward in life, I'll be honest, I've had some of my best friends had to deal with their own mental health for whatever reasons, and I'm sure more so than I'm even aware of, because people don't really talk about it that much, especially guys who don't really talk about it that much. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say, but people don't really discuss these things that much, so we should do it more. But seeing some of my best friends since then really deal it and get really bad, be in a really dark place, was hard to deal with. But I think being around that, you've got to learn how to deal with those things, and that's usually just like being there for them and chatting to them and making sure that if they need to call you, they can call you, or if you need to jump on a train and go and see them, or you know, do whatever you need to do, and that's exactly what you need to do. People's health, happiness and their well-being is far more important than anything, more important than your job and money. So it's really you have to, those pillars I spoke about, they come into play, but if somebody's having a really rough time, you've got to be there for them. So yeah, I think that on the whole, it taught me a lot going through what I did slightly earlier and realizing what people go through, and then to see my friends have such tough times but come out the other side of it is incredibly like impressive and inspirational. And I mean, they always say, and I've always said, like, it's the tough times and the shit times that make you stronger, because if you get through them, then you can kind of get through that kind of thing and probably worse. And I definitely believe it, because I said the people in question for me, the people I'm talking about, they have come up across the other side, and they're way stronger and happier, and that's amazing to see. And I think that just comes from support, and people being around them and thinking in a better way, and yeah, it's amazing to see. Which brings me on to kind of why and how things have changed for me. Of course, I found out that I had MS just over 2 years ago now. I've always been a healthy person. I've always been fit as best as I can be. I have, you know, dabbled in bits and bobs here and there, like a good drink with my friends, like going out, like go to festivals, you know, that kind of thing, you know the drill. And I think, Hi. And I think, like, to then get lumped with the MS thing, and I will go into that story at some point, but to get lumped with that as like a, you know, a pretty intense disease at the age of 30, when you genuinely feel like you're impossible. Funnily enough, it had just been COVID, so it had been this kind of like the world had been dying, everyone had been going through hell and back, and you sort of start to breathe this fresh air, this, you know, the breath of relief. You think, oh, well, got through that, and then pow, that hits you, and that's really tough. I was in hospital beds for weeks, surrounded by very ill people, surrounded by older people that have kind of lost their mind. So you're stuck in a world where you can't see your partner because you're not allowed to because of COVID rules. You don't know what's going on. You can't really see. At one point, literally all I could hear was hear. So I'm hearing people shouting for help and screaming and stuff like that. It was like an asylum. And then all the while, you don't actually know what's going on with your body, which, as a mental thing, is quite difficult to deal with. I am lucky. I had amazing support from all my friends and family. I had unbelievable support from Jess, my amazing fiance. Honestly, you have no idea what I would do without her. I had no idea what I'd do without any of my friends and family, but Jess, oh my God. Yeah, she's incredible. And I think that, like, it was such a moving journey, and everything was changing so quickly, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on in my life, that I couldn't really process it. And I would probably say, and I bet my family and Jess would probably back me up on this, I'd probably say that I got the really worst hit mentally way afterwards, where I was like comprehending what had just happened. Because even now, to be honest with you, looking back and thinking back, which is why when I get into the chat about MS, I think it's going to be probably quite difficult, because it feels like it happened to somebody else. It was a lot of intense stuff going on in a very short space of time in the grand scheme of things, and it feels like it happened to someone else. So maybe that's like in a weird way I've compartmentalized it. Maybe not, but I do remember having some really tough times. I was really down at points, and I remember Jess and my mum and dad saying, look, we're always here, but you need to kind of discuss it and get this all out there. And I chose not to. Apparently I thought there was better than that, and not better than that, I just didn't know if that was the thing to do. Maybe it would have helped, and in hindsight maybe it did, maybe it should have helped. So as far as advice to myself goes, and probably to anyone else, if you feel like maybe you want to talk to somebody, and look, talking to somebody is not a sign of weakness. Can I just make that very clear? Speaking to anybody, it could be your friends, your family, it could be a stranger in the fucking street. Speak to somebody is not a weakness. Accepting that you have a bad day is not a weakness. Accepting that some hard things have happened to you, even second guessing, has the thing that's happened to you, is it really big a deal compared to other people saying, it's irrelevant. If you don't feel so great about something and it feels like it might be beneficial to talk with somebody, go and talk to somebody. I don't know why you wouldn't. You just, please go and talk to somebody. Which really brings me back around to why I'm doing this. I am going to run, excuse me, I'm going to run the London Marathon, and I'm going to have a camera strapped to me here, like this. So you're going to see everything I go through physically and mentally for 26 miles, which I think at the minute with my training is going to be about 4.5 hours. That is a lot to go through, and I can guarantee it's going to be very tough. But I want to show the people at home what it looks like when somebody has a bad time, and show that I'm not afraid to show that it's a bad time, and that I'm accepting, look, this is me having a bad time, and it may be messages or comments whilst I'm running, it may be people running as I go past, but that's support, that's a support network, and that's support people, and that's what gets me through it. So I'm quite happy to say, look, I'm having a bad day, and in the future I would say to anybody watching this, if you're having a bad day, hold your hands up and say, I'm having a bad day. Make a call, mum, dad, your missus, your mate, you know, your mate you haven't spoke to in a long time, you just think you want to have a ramble. That's what it's for. So the reason why I'm doing this for Mind is to represent that we have a shit time. We can have a shit time, and it is completely fine to have a shit time. That shit time can be somebody being like, oh, feeling a bit down. It could be someone getting really angry because they don't really know how to use their emotions properly, or don't really know how to vent it. Or it could be somebody bursting into tears and just not completely inconsolable. All of these things are completely valid and are perfectly fine. And there are always ways to get around these things. Discuss, talk to people, call people, take a deep breath. Or in my situation, I'll be honest, go out for a run, do some training. If I have a really stressful time, if I'm feeling really shit, I go out and run, or I go to the gym. I need like music in my ear. I need to sort of feel my blood pumping and my body moving a little bit. And yeah, makes me feel way better. So yeah, that brings me to the end of my Mind UK rambling. But please, if you're watching this, there are links in my bios for my YouTube. There are definitely links on my Instagram, so please check it out. Everything I'm doing is trying to raise awareness for this kind of thing. So please, if you can, and you can spare anything, spare me some time and watch the videos, click a few likes, comment a little bit, ask some questions, give me some feedback. If you can, donate what you can. That would be really helpful. I think the best help you can be right now is tell people what I'm up to. The more support I can get, I think the more I'll make a difference with this. I would definitely say that I'm enjoying this, and I'm enjoying trying to do something good after having such a shit time. And notably, I can admit right now, it really was a shit time, and we'll get into that. But if I've had a shit time, and now my mindset is let's just try and help other people that are going through that shit time, then that is all we can do. So please spread the word about what I'm trying to do. Spread the word about the time and the money, and what Mind UK do to help people having a really tough time, and all the other charities, may I add. And please, let's make a difference. So thanks for watching. Click, donate, follow, subscribe to my YouTube. There'll be more, but please give me some comment and feedback. Thank you very much.